What up, everybody? Welcome back to Operation Moksha. As always, I'm your host, Chris Roscoe, and today we're going to be talking about gratitude. However, the hippies really kind of f***ed it up because they made it seem like it was this all-powerful thing, that it was the only thing you needed to focus on. And every single time back in the day, anybody said anything that wasn't filled with gratitude, all the hippies would pounce on you about it and be like, oh my God, you're so low vibration and blah, blah, blah. And it was just this whole obnoxious thing. And so I wanted to break down exactly what's so important about it, what the hippies got wrong, how to actually integrate it into your being so that you can use it, and essentially show you why this is so powerful, what it can give you, and ultimately how you can integrate it. Gratitude is like being appreciative of something or someone. It's being thankful for something or someone, being glad that it's there, having something about it that you like and appreciate and can feel good about. And the interesting thing about gratitude is that you don't have to fully like whatever the thing or person or whatever it is you're looking at or dealing with in order to be grateful for some element of it. If you can find something in anything, no matter whether it's inside of you or outside of you, if you can find something about anything that's challenging you, causing you problems, anything like that, if you can find something about it to be grateful for, it has this uncanny ability to really just kind of flip the whole context of what you're looking at on its ass. It's like specifically in the integration process, right? Because it's like, it's one thing to be able to know on a conscious level that this unconscious part of you that you're trying to integrate, even though it's been causing you problems and all this kind of shit, like ultimately has something good for you and you can go look for it and all that sort of stuff. It adds a certain flavor to it that makes things go a little slower. But when you add the like, not only do I know there's something in this part worth uncovering and integrating, but I'm grateful for the fact that it's there, that shortens the process. It flips the context because you go from having to look at this thing inside of you that you hate or don't like or just causes you problems and you're trying to love it even though you don't like it, and it creates this really interesting push and pull. But when you can infuse gratitude in it, it kind of takes the push and pull away. And I know for me at least that just the intention of wanting to be grateful alone reveals things for me to be grateful for. And so if I'm ever dealing with a part of my personality that is taking a long time to process or reveal itself or help me understand it or anything like that, if there's something that's really sensitive and maybe it's frustrating, maybe it's taking a really long time, what I'll try to do is just infuse a little bit of gratitude for what that thing will ultimately be. You know, it's like, I know one day you're gonna be healthy. I'm glad I found you. I'm grateful that I found you. I'm grateful that you're here, even if you're in this really shitty perspective and worldview and you're making me feel really terrible. I'm still glad that I know you. I'm still grateful that I'm connected with you. I'm still grateful that I'm gonna be able to figure out whatever it is you need from me. I'm grateful that I know one day you're gonna get back to health. And I'm grateful that I know one day we're gonna be best friends and we're gonna be able to work together on whatever it is we wanna work together on. And that is such a huge distinction from being able to just say, that kind of in the back of your head while you're going through this really difficult process of push and pull. Because without the gratitude, it's like you have to go back and forth between, okay, yes, I'm facing this thing because I know one day it'll be worth it, but I really hate it, it's really uncomfortable, I fucking hate the thing, and so you have to go back and forth a lot. Whereas when you infuse the gratitude, it kind of smooths everything out and makes it a lot easier to deal with because the push and pull it's diminished, and instead what you have is gratitude. You have a whole new context. It takes away the context of, wow, this really sucks. It takes away the context of, wow, this could take fucking forever. It takes a lot of those doubts just out of the context and immediately has you connected to the fact that this will one day work out. It connects you to the reality where it essentially has already worked out and has you feel gratitude for something that hasn't even happened yet, which is a beautiful place to be, especially if we're talking about the integration process and programming the mind. Because people talk about this in the form of like the law of attraction, secret, universe, and all sort of stuff, where they say that if you want to talk to the universe, you have to talk as if things are already the way you want them to be. And that's fine, you can look at it from the universal level or whatever, but I find it much more helpful and practical to look at that as the rules of the mind. And the reason for this is the mind does whatever the fuck you tell it to do. If you give it the set of parameters that say this is how life is, that it will follow them to the letter exactly 100%. To the point where if you say, wow, I want to be grateful for this thing, then like maybe you'll start the process. However, if you say, I'm already grateful for this thing, that does something different. It gives a different set of inputs, because when you say, I want to be grateful for this thing, or I could be grateful for this thing, what you're really saying under the surface is, I'm not currently grateful for the thing, but I'd like to be one day. And that's the parameters that you're setting up. You're gonna be like, okay, cool, yeah, we're not now, but maybe one day. That's the program we're gonna run. Whereas if you say, I'm already grateful, your brain goes, yeah, okay, cool, this stuff's already happening, it's already here, we're already grateful for it, great. And then that's the parameters that it runs, and that's what it uses to create your reality. So if you can be grateful for things that haven't even happened yet, but as if they are, you're sending a really strong signal to your unconscious mind that tells it to shift the context, shift the program around, and start creating something that is in alignment with that gratitude and that present moment rather than like something far off in the future. So gratitude has a lot of fucking applications. However, one of the things that the hippies really got wrong about it was that they really just tried to hammer it into everybody. However, I want to infuse the shadow integration perspective into it and remind you that if you try to adopt gratitude as a baseline way of being, which is what I recommend, like every single morning I wake up and I just repeat all that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my work. I'm grateful for my opportunities. I'm grateful for all the cool things that are coming my way that I can't even predict yet. And it puts me in this really strong frame of expecting those things, feeling like I already am in that life. And it does actually cause some really crazy things to happen to me. I do recommend integrating gratitude as a fundamental way of being, because the most powerful form of gratitude I've ever found is simply the gratitude for being alive. If you can find a way to just simply be grateful for the fact that you exist, that creates such a powerful context for your entire reality. Your existence alone is a blessing. And so many people don't look at themselves that way. So many people don't look at their lives that way. And just try it right now. Just literally just pause this video, close your eyes for 5 minutes, take a couple breaths, and just try to imagine what it would be like to be grateful for your existence on a fundamental level. And notice if that shifts anything. You can open your eyes and everything when you're done, but like check this out, try it for a second. Because when I started doing this, I started realizing that even in the midst of immense suffering, I could be grateful for the fact that I was alive. And it helped me frame my suffering in a different way. Because it's like when you're suffering and you don't even like the fact that you're alive, then it's like, oh God, that's hard to deal with. But if you're really grateful for the fact that you're alive and you enjoy your existence on a fundamental level and suffering just happens to be a part of it, it's not really that big of a deal. Because you're like, yeah, my life is ultimately great. I'm ultimately grateful for being alive. I'm happy to be here. There just happens to be some elements of it that I don't like. And that's a very powerful context versus, fuck, I really don't like that I'm here. I'm not grateful that I'm here. And there's suffering to deal with. It's like that's a disempowering context to deal with something that already sucks. So if you're gonna have shit that sucks, you might as well overpower it with all the shit that's cool. And gratitude is the best thing that I've ever found to do that. However, like I was setting up before, the hippies tried doing this by just beating everyone over the head with it like they do, and they don't know that they do that, but they do it. And so the thing about it is you actually have to integrate all the parts of you that don't align with the gratitude, because not a lot of us were raised or taught to be grateful for every different element of our lives. If you were born hyper-religious, maybe you were taught to have a certain kind of gratitude, but it's usually just to God, and it's like for specific things, and there's certain things you're allowed to talk to God about and other things you're not, and it sets up a weird parameter. So even most of us that were raised with gratitude weren't raised to infuse it to every single aspect of our lives. And when you want to infuse gratitude to every aspect of your life, there's gonna be tons of different parts of your personality that don't wanna do that. The parts are gonna say, no, my life sucks, or this thing sucks, or I hate this, and there's nothing to be grateful about it for. Like all these different ideas are going to have to be dealt with. It took me a very long time to be able to integrate gratitude as a fundamental way of being. Like I would dabble with it a little bit, and then all these other parts that I had to deal with would come up and tell me why I couldn't be grateful or shouldn't be grateful or all that sort of stuff. And I dealt with them, and I go back to gratitude, integrate it even deeper. And now I just have this kind of embodied sense where I wake up every morning and I'm grateful. I go to bed every night and I'm grateful. I look at my future and I'm grateful, including the struggles, including the challenges, including everything. I'm grateful, not necessarily because it's so amazing or anything like that, but because the act of becoming grateful makes it look amazing. Gratitude has this really interesting kind of mass to it, where when you start looking for things to be grateful for, you find them everywhere. Just like if you start looking for problems, you're gonna find them everywhere. If you look for ways to fail, you're gonna find them everywhere. But if you start genuinely looking for things to be grateful for and you infuse that intention into every area of your life, they will start to show up. And you'll start to realize all this beauty and all this excitement and all these really cool things that are constantly around you that you didn't know about before because you just weren't fucking paying attention to them because you weren't trying to. It's one of the most valuable things I've ever been able to find. Like I talk about how important the identity is. I talk about how important environment is. And gratitude is one of those other pillars. Like if you have a strong identity, a good environment, and you're able to show gratitude for every area of your life, you will be high energy, you will be unstoppable, you will be able to find something good about any situation you ever find yourself in, ever. But again, that really does come down to whether or not you can get all the different parts of your personality on board that are currently not online with that. And that comes down to the integrative process. So if you want to learn more about that, I have courses you can take on my website, check that out. I'd be happy to teach you about it. But the main idea is, if there's some part of you that isn't currently grateful for anything in your reality, the question is simply why? You can choose to be grateful for anything, for everything, every moment of every day. You can choose to, you can find something to be grateful for. So if there's an area of your life that you're not experiencing gratitude, the question is why? How am I looking at it that doesn't allow me to at least find something to be grateful for? Because you can have something that's really shitty, but still find something to be grateful for. And it's not even that you should or shouldn't. It's just that one's gonna make you really happy and make things a hell of a lot easier, and the other one is just not gonna do that. So gratitude is, it's a way to make your life easier. It's a way to make your problems more digestible. It's a way to make your life feel more worthwhile. It's not a thing that like good spiritual people do. And if you're not grateful all the time, then you're like low vibration, all that stupid crap. It's just a way to make yourself feel good and to appreciate being alive, because there is so much to appreciate about it if you look. Whereas if you tell yourself that there's not a lot to be grateful for, that's all you're gonna find. And so it's interesting because there does seem to be this kind of moral imperative when it comes to gratitude, because this is how a lot of us have been taught about gratitude. Like, you should be grateful, you know, like, oh, I gave you life, I could take it away. Like, you should be grateful for all this blah, 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 blah. And like, that's fine or whatever, because like, that might be a thing you have to deal with, because I did too, because I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness and we get taught some weird shit. However, just because you were taught that you should be grateful doesn't mean that it's not a good thing to do. You just have to deal with the fact that you think you should do it, get through that, and you can get to the point where you actually want to do it. So just take a moment of your day and look at all the things that are good in your life, look at all the things that are bad in your life, and just bring the intention to be grateful for them. And I guarantee you things will start to pop up. I've found gratitude for things that suck. I've found gratitude for suffering. I've found gratitude for parts of myself that have tortured me for years. I've found gratitude for breakups. I've found gratitude for death. I've found something to be grateful for in any situation I've ever been in, good or bad. And it doesn't make it right or wrong. It just means that whatever it is I'm dealing with, I'm gonna be that much more energized for. I'm gonna be able to see it in a positive context. I'm gonna be able to see all the opportunities, find a way to make it better than it would have been if I wasn't grateful, and just bring myself a whole hell of a lot of peace. So basically, to wrap all this up, it's like, yes, gratitude is one of the most important things you could ever integrate into your being. It changes your context, it gives you energy, it shows you solutions. It literally makes your life more palatable and more enjoyable. However, don't do what the hippies do. Don't just try to beat it into your mind like it's like you can just hammer it in there. That's not how that works. There's plenty of different parts of your personality that may be too afraid to be grateful. They may be too in pain to be grateful. They may be angry and not really see any reason to be grateful. And if you look at them and talk to them and help them find a way to be grateful, you can infuse it into anything, good or bad, and find healthier, better ways to deal with anything and everything in your life. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. I know it's big, but I'm Chris Roscoe. I love you, and I'll see you next time.